Do you really have what it takes to be self-employed, to be an entrepreneur? In this video, I am going to break it down and I'm going to let you know, astrologically speaking, what I believe you have to have in a birth chart in order to symbolize the strong potential for success in entrepreneurial efforts. So, if you are interested in learning whether or not your birth chart can tell you whether or not you'll be successful starting that new business, going for that side hustle, becoming the entrepreneur that you dream of being, then stick around. This video is for you. Before I get started, a big warm welcome. My name is Maria DeSimone. For those of you who don't know me, I am a professional astrologer, and you can find out more about me and my work over at insightfulastrology.com, where I offer consultations, and I have an entire astrology school. In my astrology school, I teach you personalized classes that are live every week. They're recorded, so if you can't attend live, don't worry, you'll get the recording. And in these classes, I personally nurture you. You become a part of my astrology family. I use your birth charts in the lesson plans and the homework assignments, so it really makes the astrology come to life. And my beginners class is now open for registration. And this video, what inspired this video is that you actually will take my beginners class and you will learn how to identify something like this in a person's birth chart, whether or not they could be an entrepreneur. That is the kind of information that I teach you right from the jump, right in my beginner's class. So in this beginner's class, you will get a proper foundation in your astrological knowledge. You're going to learn about the planets, the signs, the houses, the basic structure of a birth chart. You're going to learn about the elements and the modes, the nodes of the moon. And you will learn about the philosophy of fate and free will and the role that they have in astrology. So much more just in this beginner's class. It's going to help you start to learn how to think astrologically for yourself, which I believe is the most important part of being an astrologer or an astrology student. And this class right now, I only teach it twice a year. This will take place in January of 2025. This class starts the end of January. Early bird registration is now open for a limited time, and it will save you $55 off of tuition. So if you have been thinking about learning astrology with me, come and join now. Get in on the beginner's class because it will give you that solid foundation. Even if you think you have that solid foundation, if you've studied astrology for years, this class will fill in some important learning gaps. So if you are a longer term student of astrology, but you're struggling to put things together into a cohesive analysis, then you're blocked. And before you go on to aspect analysis, you need to revisit the foundations in this class so that I can unblock you. I hope you decide to join me. Now, let's talk about whether or not you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. This is an area of interest that I have had personally and professionally for as long as I've been an astrology student myself. You know, I have studied the birth charts of countless numbers of people who are successful, self-employed entrepreneurs who are have that quality where they are willing to wake up every day and write their own paycheck, generate their own wealth. They can take that risk. They do not need the security of a paycheck every week going into their direct deposit. Some people do not need that, and some people thrive off of not having that, whereas other people do not. Other people, oh my God, the thought of not having that steady, stable paycheck, it will make your skin crawl. And that's okay. There is no right or wrong in terms of personality. You are what you are. And understanding your astrology will actually help you thrive. It will help you tap into your inherent strengths and allow you to maximize them, allow you to make peace with where your strengths are and how to use them. And that's another reason why I wanted to do this video because, so many people say, yes, I want to be self-employed. I don't want a boss. I want to be able to do what I want to do. And that's great to want to be self-employed, but can you do it? Can you really be successful at it? And I have seen so many clients try and fail. in this area of life. I have seen charts where I've been astounded by their entrepreneurial success. I mean, I'm not just talking about multi-millionaires. I'm talking about billionaires. I'm talking about extremely successful people. And they all have something in common. And I want to share that with you. And if you don't believe me and you're an astrology nerd, go to Astro Data Bank, which is an amazing resource for birth charts. It is documented birth charts of people with their correct birth time. And you could basically type in anything you want to research. So go ahead and type in a search for entrepreneurs' birth charts. And you're going to see that over and over again, what I'm sharing with you is revealed in the birth charts of entrepreneurs who have made it successfully. And so, of course, you need to have an accurate time of birth to start with, because if we don't have an accurate time of birth, we're not going to know the ascendant degree. We're not going to know the angles of your birth chart if we don't have that accurate birth time. And that's going to be very important. So, here are the main qualities that any entrepreneur will share in a birth chart. The first and most dominant quality that I see is a predominance of cardinal signs. And remember, this is something that I untangle in the beginner's class. The elements and the modes are super important for you to understand and integrate in your language as an astrologer. So the cardinal mode has Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Those are the signs represented by the cardinal mode. The cardinal mode in astrology is also occurring at the beginning of any season. So you will notice that Aries correlates with the beginning of spring, Cancer, the beginning of summer, Libra, the beginning of fall, Capricorn, the beginning of winter. That's important. That informs us about something important connected to the cardinal nature. So right away, we know that cardinal signs initiate. They begin something. They open the door and they say, all right, let's get this party started. Let's do this. And every single cardinal sign has that talent, that ability to initiate, to be a self starter. And you have to be a self starter if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be successfully self employed. You absolutely cannot be a successfully self employed person if you do not have that initiating ability to go out there and create, generate your own business. And so that is why cardinal placements are super pronounced in the charts of successful entrepreneurs. So check out your birth chart, check out the birth chart of your favorite successful self-employed person. I'm talking about the person who is 100% self employed. I'm not talking about somebody who has their hands in a lot of different things. That's actually found in successful business people who have heavy mutable placements, or maybe big CEOs of heavy conglomerates that they can keep something successful lasting. That's the fixed signs. So it's not that you can't be successful if you don't have cardinal placements. Success and money in the birth chart, that's a different subject. All of the signs have the potential for extraordinary success or financial prosperity, but the specific qualities that you need to be self-employed very much connect to cardinality and aggressive, assertive tendencies, risk-taking ability. And that brings me to my second point. What is very often found in the birth charts of successful entrepreneurs is not only some kind of strong cardinal placement, whether it's an angle in the chart or a planet in the chart, but also a very prominent Mars placement, because Mars is the planet of courage. Mars is the planet that allows us to take a risk, to take a chance, and to go ahead and just jump out of the airplane and be like, all right, I'm going to build my parachute on the way down. That, you need to have some balls to be self-employed. That is very often found with a strong Mars placement. Or again, heavy Aries, perhaps, sometimes Scorpio, but that's water and that's a different subject, unless your Mars is in Scorpio. Mars in Scorpio, very good signature for self-employed people because Mars is in its sign of domicile. So if Mars is in Aries, if Mars is in Scorpio, if Mars is in Capricorn, really strong, prominent placements for success as an entrepreneur. But guess what? Even if Mars is in the sign Cancer, which is not its sign of exaltation, but its sign of fall, there are many successful entrepreneurs with that placement. And it is because it goes back to the cardinality. Mars is in a cardinal sign. So those are the Mars placements that are very prominent in successful entrepreneurial charts, but also when I say a strong Mars, I don't just mean that Mars has to be in one of those signs. That's not the only storyline here. If you have your Mars placement on an angle in your chart, it is a prominent Mars. So Mars conjunct the first, fourth, seventh, 10th house cusp, that's a prominent Mars. And that gives you entrepreneurial ability. That gives you the courage, the balls, the capacity to say, I'm going to take a chance in myself. I'm going to believe in myself and I'm going to make this work. Mars is a very generative planet. So again, you need to generate your business if you're going to be self-employed. It is not just going to come to you. So you have to go after it. Mars makes you do that. Another connection to Mars, when I say prominent Mars, maybe you have a really beautifully aspected Mars connected to your midheaven perhaps, or maybe connected in a very nice way to Jupiter. So it is very nuanced, very detailed. It is not just a cookie cutter checklist here, okay? But the main points in order to look at anybody's birth chart and say, can you be a successful entrepreneur? Cardinal placements, strong Mars. If you have this recipe in your birth chart, then you've got the green light for success potential as a self-employed person, as an exclusively self-employed person. Guys, this is so valuable to know about yourself. I mean, there are a lot of jobs out there that are 100% commissions based. That is as good as being self-employed. Because if something is 100% commissions based, that means you have to generate the business. You have to have self-employment, entrepreneurial skills. And if you don't have the cardinal placements or the strong Mars, you're going to have a tough time in those types of fields. So certain sales industries are 100% commissions. Real estate is a commissions-based industry. You get the idea. Now, somebody like me, I'm an astrologer. Okay. So being an astrologer is predominantly a self-employed venture, but it's not exclusively one. So if you are an astrologer or an aspiring astrologer and you don't have a predominance of cardinal placements or a strong Mars, fear not. There are other ways to make money in this industry. You could teach. And you could be very successful at it. You could publish, you could write horoscope columns or horoscope content. You can create content. So there are other ways to make money besides assertively going out and generating business in terms of clients, but if you're going to be self-employed as a teacher, then you have to have the cardinal placements. If you're going to work for someone else as a teacher and be paid to teach for them, you don't need the cardinal placements as much. Do you see where I'm going with this? I'm trying to think of some other examples to give you. I know of a chart, someone in my personal life who has a predominance of fixed energy, but has a strong Mars in Scorpio in the 8th house. However, there's mostly fixed energy and there is no cardinal energy really. There's one placement and that's cardinal. And this person has the desire, the drive, and even the DNA in his family to be self-employed, but all of the fixed energy he's not able to channel it yet to go out and aggressively generate business every day. He still wants that security and he's really, really good. He's talented at keeping things going and that somebody else starts. That's a phenomenal manager. This is someone who could successfully run a company that someone else has built. And that person can absolutely be multimillionaire 10 times over. But where the block is this lack of an ability to wake up every day hungry enough to say, this is a game and I want to win at the game and I want to go and write my own paycheck. And that's okay that I don't know where my next meal is coming from or how I'm going to pay these bills yet. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it. That mindset, that personality, it is not a fixed archetype. It is a cardinal one. It is a cardinal one and it is a strong Martian one. And that I have found over and over again. If you're a heavy mutable person, then you're really good at pivoting. You're really good at change and you can do multiple things to generate success in your chosen career path. So it may be harder for you to assertively pursue self-employment exclusively, but that's okay because you may have multiple paths and multiple options, multiple revenue streams that you can access, which is wonderful. But, again, exclusive self-employment, you have to have that drive inside of you, and it has to be strong, and it has to be something that sparks you and inspires you. Strong fire can add to this. However, I personally feel that the sign Aries would be the fire sign that is the sign of the entrepreneur, because that is the cardinal fire sign. That is the entrepreneur, Aries. So fire signs in general, though, do have this enthusiasm and this ability to believe in themselves, the confidence that you need to be an entrepreneur. And so, to a lesser extent, you can see, that there's potential with Sagittarius and Leo, but in different ways, because that would be a fixed and immutable sign. So, unless there's a strong Mars, or unless there is cardinal placements or cardinal angles there are going to be some blockages that maybe exclusive self-employment is not the way to go for that person. So I know I'm getting long-winded in my video. I made my point. Go and research this for yourself. I want you to tell me in the comments, are you a successful entrepreneur? Are you exclusively self-employed? If the answer is yes, tell me about your chart. Do you have strong cardinal placements? Do you have a strong Mars? There are charts of many successful, wealthy people who are business people in addition to doing something else, who have actually become millionaires, multimillionaires, or billionaires. Rachel Ray comes to mind. Now, she doesn't have any cardinal energy, yet she has a successful business. But if you look at how her life went and her career path went, she was never exclusively a self-employed entrepreneur. That is not how her business life evolved. It was through her connections and her opportunities that and syndication deals, it was networking, she pivoted and had multiple opportunities, publishing, cookbooks, shows, entertainment, and all of that. And yes, she absolutely does have a successful business, but that is not the same route to success that someone who is 100% self-employed and an exclusive risk-taking entrepreneur takes. So I hope you see the distinction that I'm making here in this video when I'm trying to tell you that you can absolutely be successful. You could be wealthier than the person who has all the cardinal placements and the strong Mars. You can be more successful and wealthier than that person. But I'm talking about entrepreneurial skills. I'm talking about the go get it personality, the initiative, the person who's going to write their own check, the person who's going to kill what they eat every day. Do you have what it takes to kill what you eat? Then you are an entrepreneur, my friend. Let me know in the comments how your chart works out, and I will see you at the next video. Bye.